the next week is going to be very big.
Will the United States attack nuclear targets in Iran?
I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening. I'm John Dickerson.
I'm Maurice Dubois.
There is a major victory in the battle against HIV, and we will have more about that in a moment from our Dr. John LaPook. But first, the latest on what so many Americans are concerned about tonight.
Is the United States going to war with Iran? As you heard when the president was asked today if he plans to strike nuclear targets in Iran, he said he may or may not. If he has decided, he's not saying.
What he is saying is he wants Iran to surrender without conditions.
Unconditional surrender. That means I've had it. Okay, I've had it. I give up. No more. Then we go blow up all the, all the nuclear stuff that's all over the place there.
As for an offer from, of all people, Vladimir Putin to serve as mediator with Iran, Mr. Trump says he told Putin, mired in a war with Ukraine, do me a favor, mediate your own. Weijia Jiang is at the White House tonight. So, Weijia, what are the president and his national security team doing right now?
Well, Maurice, late this afternoon, all of them met in the Situation Room as President Trump continues to consider whether to join Israel in striking Iran's nuclear sites. Now, CBS News has just learned that last night Trump actually approved a plan to attack Iran, but he did not make a final call in case Tehran decided to abandon its nuclear program. In fact, today, Trump repeatedly insisted that he has not made a final decision and said the door is not closed to talking to the Iranians, who he says even offered to come here to the White House, although he added it's late in the game to try to negotiate. Trump says he does not want to get involved, but claims that Iran was just a few weeks away from having a nuclear weapon, something he has long said is unacceptable. That is the most specific time frame he has offered about Iran's nuclear threat, although the U.S. intelligence community has made a different assessment that they're not actively building a weapon.
And Weijia, what do we know about what Iran is doing at this moment?
Well, just in case the U.S. does strike, sources who were briefed about a potential response tell CBS News that Iran is preparing missiles and equipment to attack U.S. bases in the region in case the U.S. becomes directly involved. And Iranian proxies could also be preparing to target American assets. And to that end, we have also learned that the Pentagon is moving around its assets in the region to protect them.
Okay, Weijia Jiang at the White House. Thank you.
The U.S. military has troops and sailors across the Middle East.
More than 40,000 are stationed in 8 countries, including Kuwait, Bahrain, and Qatar, which is home to the largest U.S. military installation in the region.
At sea, there are 10 American warships, including guided missile destroyers, such as the USS Wayne E. Meyer.
President Trump last weekend ordered a second aircraft carrier strike group led by the USS Nimitz to leave the South China Sea and head for the Middle East. The Nimitz is expected to arrive in a matter of days.
Our correspondent Debora Patta is in Tel Aviv, where the war in the air is entering its 7th day.
This is an unprecedented aerial war fought across hundreds of miles. Every day, Israeli jets take off for Iran, where they are destroying missile launchers, assassinating senior military leaders, and taking out crucial infrastructure. And Israeli missiles streak across the skies of Tehran. Some are intercepted, others break through. Iran is retaliating in equal measure, firing barrages of missiles. Israel's multi-layered air defense system has brought down most of them, but it is not invincible. We spoke to former Israeli Air Force Chief of Staff Nimrod Shefer.
We are managing to intercept 9 of every 10 missiles being launched or penetrating the Israeli airspace. It's a huge number.
But you're also burning through a lot of weapons.
We cannot last forever with that kind of campaign. It's logical to think that as long as the campaign is going on, the numbers from both sides are declining.
In 2022, the U.S. estimated Iran had around 3,000 ballistic missiles. Not all of them could reach Israel. And the Israel Defense Force has said it's already destroyed a third of Iran's missile launchers.
So when there's a significant shortage of weapons, what's next?
I hope we won't get there, but what next is that probably Israel will start seeking for a diplomatic move. You have to stop when you're strong enough, not when you are getting weak.
Deborah, is a diplomatic solution at this point still seen as likely?
Well, you know, Maurice, it's one thing to start a war. It's a lot harder to end it. But senior Israeli officials all tell us that the U.S. will play a decisive role in bringing this to an end. Either it steps in militarily to help Israel deliver that knockout blow to Iran's nuclear capabilities, or it could help find a diplomatic solution by bringing the two sides to a negotiating table. Both are up in the air.